Hey guys. Oh my lord. Oh my lord. Let me try this. I wish I was starting this vlog off on a happier note, but I'm back in New Hampshire. And I really debated on actually making this vlog, but I think for me it's definitely, I'm so sorry guys, maybe this is just a part where you listen and not watch. I really debated on actually filming any of this, but I felt like it was a really good outlet for me to be able to internally process as well as share with you guys what's been going on. I am back in New Hampshire because my dad had a heart attack. Basically, he had a heart attack earlier this week on Monday, and I didn't find out from my parents until Wednesday evening when he finally gave in to going to the hospital. So I'm not gonna get too much into the nitty-gritties of like what had happened, at least for right now. Okay, there's a really hot runner. Anyways, so I am back. Pretty much my parents didn't want me coming home and they didn't tell me sooner. So I get why they did it. I wish they told me sooner. But he has been in the hospital since Wednesday. It is now Saturday and he was only supposed to be kept one night. And I flew back immediately when I heard he was in the ICU. So he has been in the ICU since yesterday. He got moved today to just like a general floor where they're monitoring his health, his heart. He has diabetes and he has his heart and he also has sleep apnea. So it's kind of just been a tumble of things that have been coming out. I was supposed to come home a week from today for my mom's graduation, but you know, life will surprise you. Oh my god. I am just sitting in my dad's car right now before I head back into the hospital. I've been pretty much in and out all day, and I'm not gonna lie, today has been very rough. I didn't want to film much in the room because I wanted to respect both his and my mom's privacy. But basically my mom and I have been here all day just to keep my dad company and to make sure. My mom's like uber worried about like doctors and whatnot, so like she wants to be here to hear everything, which is totally fair. But it's been really hard. My dad just got transferred out of the ICU this morning at 4 a.m. and this floor, guys, is like insanely different. Like, think about going from the mountains, the White Mountains, to like Boston, or like upstate New York to inner city New York. Where we were originally was like super quiet. There weren't a lot of patients, just very mellow. And ever since my dad got transferred, it has been beeping non-stop. But it's like, it's blaring, guys, like all day. So my poor dad has not been able to get any rest either, which isn't helpful. But I'm just sitting out here in his car. It's about 6:30 Saturday before I go back in because just like it's very overwhelming. And I'm not gonna lie, I've never really had family health issues like this before, so for me this is all like fairly new. But that said, it's very overwhelming. The energy on this floor is just a lot more, it's a lot more heavier, I will say, because there's a lot more patients. We're no longer next to a window. We are sharing a room with someone else. So like that in its own adds on to like the heavy energy. And today my mom has been so exhausted, so I kind of like stepped in for her. And feeding your parent with food through a straw, helping them get up, walk around, helping them to the bathroom, like all those things is not easy. Like, I just would have never imagined that I would be doing those types of things for my dad, like, and like telling him he can't have certain foods. I can see when he gets really upset as well, and like it makes him very sad. So just like feeling that from him as well has been very hard. I will say this, and this was the primary reason why I wanted to share this vlog and create it, is that yes, I've been crying and I've been feeling through all the emotions and whatnot, but I didn't expect to handle this as well as I have been. And for the longest time, and I know this is gonna sound so bad and like equally sad, I would not allow myself to be happy because my mentality was, when is the shoe gonna drop? And I did mention this in my last vlog, and I think it's very ironic. When I posted that vlog on Monday, his heart attack happened that same day too. Like, this is literally my worst nightmare. Like, for a loved one, especially my parent, to go through this when my life is going so well, like, that was why I never allowed myself to be happy, because you hear these stories of, for example, a woman having a baby but losing a parent either prior or after the baby being born. And it's because of that I would never allow myself to be happy, because I was so fearful that if I was happy, something would happen to my parents. I'm so sorry, guys. I actually did not realize I was crying until I looked into the camera and I was like, oh, I'm crying. It's such a sad way of thinking and sad way to live your life, because if you let that be your guiding compass, like, how would you ever enjoy? And that was me for such a long time. I think after what had happened to my brother when I was 23, I kind of just went numb, and I was like, I'm not gonna be happy. I can't be happy. If I was not happy, if I was not in a good place in my life, if I wasn't surrounded by great people, I know for a fact I would not be handling this as well as I am right now. And so, all to say, being happy does make you stronger. Being happy does get you through the tougher times, and to like just be the person others can lean on. And that's not to say that I'm invincible and that I will be spearheading everything and all the emotions my parents are feeling, but I have just been so grateful. When I first found out about his heart attack, I was just so grateful that, you know, he's surrounded by loved ones. Loved ones are visiting him. I was actually very surprised by how many people were coming in to the hospital to visit him. Like, we're so loved and we're so supported, and I'm just really grateful that they have that up here, and that I also have my friends that I can lean on. That's really what I want to say, is that being happy does make you stronger, and having a support system where you are surrounded by happiness and love, like, that will get you through the harder times. Because, guys, I know for a fact I would have never made it through this. Like, I would be just as much of a wreck right now if my life wasn't so good and so great. This is me trying to put a positive reframe on this, that him going through this not only is better for him, but also for our family. Like, it's bringing us all closer together. It's making us more aware of how much diet is so important. Like, it does not matter how much you exercise, guys. Like, your diet is vital. Like, it is like the basis of good health, along with sleep. And I think it just also goes to show that, like, if you want to live a very full, well-rounded life, like, I'm not saying you need to be injured and need to be going through health complications all the time, but I think this is where it really shows when you need to become a fighter and when you can actually rise out of like dark and weak times. So that was like a really long digression, but this is what's been on my mind for the last several days that I really wanted to share with you guys, because I think just for me, it's all kind of just been a shocking and surreal experience. It's crazy. I was like on cloud 9 7 days ago. So that was my rant. Good morning, guys. It is, I love how the last two shots have been me in the direct sun. Crying, but still looks good. Puffy face, but still okay. It is, it actually is really bright, 7 a.m. I'm just gonna move Jesus out of the way so this isn't in your all's way again. I feel like this is gonna be like a car vlog, just like the old days. It is 7 a.m. Sunday, and fortunately and unfortunately, the grocery store didn't open till 7, so I am on my way there now to pick up a few things. My dad can start eating solid foods now, which is great, but because he has high blood pressure, high sugar levels, he's diabetic, and he has high sodium intake. So basically, he is on a low sugar, low sodium diet and needs to keep up with consistent carbs. So I feel like it's very ironic that this is what I am stepping into, is basically like his chef. Because I am in school for it right now. I've always loved food and like making dishes that are kind of neutral in flavor but still flavorful, gluten-free, all that stuff. As of the last year, it's just kind of come full circle that this is what I'm doing now. It's like I'm doing it for someone else aside from me. So yeah, I feel like I didn't formulate that very well, but I've been up since 5:30. I've been reading about like soy sauce alternatives because I don't want to strip away like his Asian identity, because that's all he's ever known and loved is white rice, high in sugar, soy sauce, high in sodium, fish sauce, also high in sodium. So it's like finding those ways to still give him those Asian flavors. So I'm going to the grocery store now to pick up a couple items that can be used as sugar and flavorful alternatives. But I will say this has been a learning curve. They take his blood to test his sugar 4 times a day right now, and it's kind of just been all over the place. Like when he got admitted into the hospital, his blood sugar level was like the high 200s, which is super high. Like the natural average is I think like the low hundreds, if I'm not mistaken. And anyone who does experience this, please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm still learning. Also, excuse me if the words are not coming out clearly, because I'm just like on autopilot right now. I found out yesterday that my mom is getting sick, so I'm not really sure what to do with that information, but just being here for both of them. My brother gets in tomorrow early morning, and thank God he does, because I feel like I need that additional support right now. Yesterday I went to work out. I went to a studio to work out. Boom. And I actually felt very guilty for going. But I knew that if I didn't go and I didn't move my body in like a mindful/mindless way, I'd probably go crazy. And a thought that came to me this morning, also I'm breaking out again, so bad. Thought that came to me this morning is, some of you may know the project I was on about 2 years ago for Samsung, and how that just absolutely crushed me. Mind, body, spirit. I had 3 health scares within 1 summer. I like couldn't move towards the end of the project. It took me about 2.5 months just to get off of like that high stimulant environment and mindset. I just was so stressed out, and if that taught me anything, it's alone time and like self-care time. And that was just something I hadn't grasped. And I kind of have been noticing it now with my dad. And granted, I've only been back for 3 days. I can see the toll it takes. And so when I went to work out yesterday, I felt so guilty, but Geraldine reminded me, like, you can't help others unless you're in a good place. So I have been taking breaks. I'll just like go home and sit for an hour in silence, but even then, like, I'll still feel guilty. I think it's like natural, especially when you have family in the hospital. It's crazy how like everything that I've experienced has brought me to this. But yeah, all to say, guys, like, take time for yourself. Like, you really cannot show up for others if you are self-sacrificing to the point you're getting sick, which is exactly what's happening to my mom. She's like in and out of the hospital, first thing in the morning, first thing at night, and I think it's starting to finally catch up with her because my dad has been in the hospital since Wednesday, and she also just had no one taking care of her and no one looking after her either. So here we are, just trying to balance it all without trying to feel guilty and doing my best. But I am here at the grocery store. I'm gonna pick up a few items. Then I'm gonna go home. I've meal planned my dad's entire day. A lot of this is low sodium, no sugar, very small portions because he's just reintroducing solids into his diet. He's been on a liquid diet for the last 6 to 7 days, and then we're gonna go to the hospital to see him. I just need to say this out loud and quickly. That was probably the most overwhelmed I've ever felt in a grocery store. And I got 9 items and spent $54, and cumulatively since getting back to New Hampshire on Friday, I've spent close to $200 on groceries so far. Naturally, I almost broke down in the bread aisle. Not the bread aisle! It was overwhelming just looking at labels, and like I already do that already, but now having to be more cognizant of other factors such as sodium and carbohydrates and sugar. And now that I have someone else to think about, it was very overwhelming. And oh my god, and it's only 8 a.m. y'all. I am gonna show you what I got at the grocery store. I also did not pack very well, so this is what I wore Sunday morning. So first thing, and the most expensive thing, is coconut liquid aminos. Apparently this is a very good alternative for soy sauce, so got this $5 box of cereal. And for perspective, okay, I gotta breathe. These packs of almonds so that they're portion controlled and so I don't have to measure them. This huge thing of nutritional yeast. Got this Octonuts. That is hilarious. Octonuts almond butter. Got this monk fruit sweetener, which was $7 for this little bag. Perspective. But it is a sweetening alternative, and my dad has such a big sweet tooth that he has been feeling very lightheaded as of lately because of all the coming off of sugar. So I figured this might be a good alternative, as well as like not cutting it out cold turkey for him will like ease him out by using that. Got some prunes. These do have sugar in them, but not as much as other fruits, so this will be good for breakfast. And then for myself, it is officially 8:07 a.m. I'm gonna start cooking, and that's my cue. What would normally be a meal prep for me, today's meals for the family and I. Breakfast, Dad's breakfast, my breakfast, protein smoothie, chicken for lunch, mashed potatoes, zucchini and squash oven roasted, coconut amino, garlic, broccoli, alternative sugar, ginger, carrots, and then half of a codfish. And that's today's meals. Also forgot some brown rice and quinoa. All right, guys, I just finished making meals for the day for the family and I. It took me about 2 hours in total to prep, cook, and clean the kitchen. And I just want to say, I'm so glad that I lowered my kid count from 5 to 3. As many of you know, I originally wanted 5 kids. I actually wanted no kids, and then I wanted 5 kids, and now I want 3 kids. And I'm so glad I lowered my count, because I don't really know if I feel fulfilled or tired or just whatever, but 2 hours is a long time. And also, feeding 3 mouths versus 1 mouth is so expensive, so I can't even imagine feeding 5 mouths. And if they're boys, that's like double it. So that could be anywhere from 5 mouths to 11. Say if I had 3 boys, double 3 to, 11 mouths. And then the husband, so make that 12 mouths. And then my mouth, which is like a half more. So 12 and a half mouths for 5 people. That was unnecessary. The hope is, and the last update was, that my dad will be out of the hospital tomorrow, Monday. And my brother will also be home tomorrow, which I think is very much needed for my mom and I. My mom, she like came up to me while I was cooking, and she's like, if you weren't here, like I probably would have crumbled, like the amount that you're cooking and the amount you're doing. And I was like, no, like that's why I'm here. That's why you have kids. It's what family is for. The last realization that I've had from all of this is that it's really shown me who my like ride or die friends are. And listen, I get that everyone has their own life, but it's also shown me the ones that are only here for the good times. And it is disappointing because the last few months have really been reflective for me when it's come to friends. And I never really categorized my friends as like A friends and B friends and then acquaintances. B friends are the people that like you keep in contact with, you shoot shit, you go out and party with, like da 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 da, but they're not people you would have like very deep conversations with, or that you know would show up for you. Or like you question if they would show up for you. They're the people that you question where you stand with. And some B friends you know where you stand with, other B friends you don't really know, and that's where a lot of friend problems arise. So I think this has made everything ever clear about like who my B friends are, and that's not a bad thing or a good thing. I think it's just more of a realization for me to know where I stand with people and where they stand with me. The last 3 days have been such a learning experience. I've been very grateful that, you know, I'm able to show up for my family because flight tickets are not cheap. I'm grateful that my dad is doing well. Like, I know it sounds so like fake and cheesy, but like the best thing I can do is be positive. And it's gotten me this far. Happiness does prevail and conquers all, as does love. Such a cheesy ending. Thank you guys so much for the love and support. And, you know, I know this wasn't my usual type of vlogging, but hopefully this week will be a lot better. Sending so much love to y'all.